Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. This is your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are Minions. I can't talk. Minions, Serenity Star 13.
Hello.
SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
And Sora Luna.
Hi.
I need to remember to breathe before talking. Because it's like I was like in the middle of that and it was just like, okay, you know.
What? Do you though?
The pharyngeal exercises you have to go through if you're going to speak while inhaling are completely different. They're not just backwards.
I'm gonna learn to throw my voice. That'll get me invited back to parties. Ventriloquism, that's what the girls are looking for.
Woo.
Which one's the dummy? Yeah.
Hey, is that a quarter behind your ear? This is a restraining order in my hand. Anyway,
There you go.
hi, Skep.
It's good to hear everybody's voice. This is a big day for me.
You've had a lot of those lately, and they're all sort of themed in a particular direction. Is this something else, or is it still the joyous arrival?
This is actually only about me.
Oh.
20 years ago today, I decided that alcohol was not going to be a part of my life anymore. And I have spent the last 20 years without a drop of alcohol and am a lot better for it.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of help from people on the way and got to know a lot of cool people through AA and some of the related stuff that I got to do. But 20 years, it's just kind of a random number, but it's a big a big day in AA because the beginners, the guys who are getting their fourth, desire chip, their fourth 1 day sober chip because they can't stay sober. That gives those guys help when you come in and say, yeah, 20 years ago I was you.
You can buy those on eBay.
What?
Those little chips.
Oh, Drunk Chunk is.
Yeah.
It's actually a huge business for you.
Yeah. Oddly, you can't trade them in for drinks or anything. No. It's just a thing. So, I thought you might bring this topic up, and I was thinking as I was driving home to start the show that the thing you should really be complimented on is not just the not drinking, okay? But it's not drinking without transferring all of that negative energy into something else. You sort of just got on with your life. And now, like, for instance, like Penn Jillette doesn't drink.
Right.
Penn Jillette he's like a huge pornography collector to the point where I actually saw like one of those morning shows where they just go around and look at people's collections of things like super collectors. And one morning they're just like, we're going to go see Penn Jillette. He's a super collector of like adult materials. He has like a museum of pornography in his house. I think that maybe a few drinks and about 1/20th as much porn might be a better balance. He's just, and you see this happen with other people too, where they just like channel it all into something else. Yeah.
Transference and compensation.
And it's usually something like sex. It's something like that. Like, well, when God closes one door, he opens another, I guess. I don't know.
Of course, they never tracked down this social.
Well, the good news is you managed to not just do 20 years, but actually do something good with your life.
Well, thank you. I don't know about that. But.
Well, you've done a lot of good for a lot of people. I
hope so.
From what I know of you, you should be pretty satisfied. But I mean,
anyway,
good job on the 20 years, and good job on 20 years of keeping it classy, and not being like Penn Jillette. So,
I don't even have a porn collection.
You can put an Airstream in the backyard, just fill it full of stuff. Yeah, charge admission. Hi, Serenity.
Hello.
So there's a story in the news which I thought I'm going to bring up. So, yeah, did you hear this whole thing about Kristi Noem? No. And what she did? Okay, so Kristi Noem, governor of was it South Dakota? South Dakota.
Yes.
She, she's been sort of considered to be a bit of a darling in right-wing circles because she's, she dresses up well. She likes guns. She's pretty conservative, generally kind of a feisty babe. And she wrote a book, and it came out recently. And in said book, she talks about having to put down a dog that she was unable to train. And people have lost their ever-loving minds about this. So, like, Cat Turd is going after her. A lot of people on the right are like, I don't know, but you seem like you're disqualified. You don't shoot a dog for any reason. Now, you and I both know that's just nonsense.
Have you ever shot a dog? Because I have shot a dog. I had a stray come onto my land. This is an unincorporated rural part of Texas, and this dog was in the late stages of distemper. He was dying, and foaming at the mouth. I had 2 young children. I wasn't going to let the thing live.
It's not good for the dog either.
No, and that was the other thing. I saved that dog 3 days of misery of dying. So I shot it. Sometimes you got to shoot the dog. And as Robert A. Heinlein says, don't ever farm it out. Shoot your own dog. Don't farm it out. It doesn't make it better.
Well, we have feral dog problems around here, so it has happened a couple times. But I think my brain has convinced itself it's been a coyote a couple times. So,
Yeah.
Well, no, I've had to. But it's one of those things. If they are overly aggressive, because it depends on the dog breed. Like, did it say in the book what the dog breed was?
Well, as a hunting dog, here I can.
Hunting dogs, like I've seen, because people love Labradors, but I've seen Labradors get disgustingly aggressive, and there's nothing you can do with them but put them down at that point.
By the way, the animal that I shot was a pit bull.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Around here, it's usually some kind of herding dog who's gotten loose and gone feral, and they get too close to the herd animals, and then you got to put them down because they're almost too wolf-like in some cases.
Well, here's what information we have. Gnome wrote that she shot dead Cricket, a 14-month-old dog she had intended to train for pheasant hunting after the canine ruined a hunt, killed another family's chickens, and moved to bite her.
Yeah, no, if it killed chickens, you got to put it down.
Said had an aggressive personality and was untrainable.
Nope, you got to put it down.
But yeah, people are just losing their shit over this and saying that her career politically might be over. And you know what? They might be right. Maybe people aren't in the mood for a nuanced take on this issue. And maybe she should have just kept her damn mouth shut when she was writing her book.
Well, that's the other thing.
Because that's the judgment thing. It's like, okay, maybe you exercised good judgment doing that, but did you really think that this wasn't going to be weaponized against you? Are you actually that naive that you think the world is a welcoming place and that this admission is going to work in your favor? Because it's not.
I think you're on you're on the scent there.
Yeah.
What I think with Christy Nome is that her personality is so strange, has so many quirks to it, that even though she's fairly normal and cleans up well, she's going to be off-putting. This is just the first in a series of off-putting of America falling out of love with Christy Nome. I think that's going to happen. She's too much of an individualist, too independent. America's not in that mood right now.
Well, the thing is
she's also too honest.
If the dog was showing obsessive compulsive disorder, you technically have a chance of getting them out of it, but it either means you have to remove them from the stimuli.
So.
Well,
you
can't.
You don't think that either.
Well,
You've
no,
been
you
around
can't.
enough dogs.
I know.
You can't train that out of them.
It depends on the strength of the obsessive compulsive. If it's minor and you can get it soon enough, you can. But for the most
it's
part,
minor. But most of the time, by the time you notice it, it's taken hold to where you're never going to train it out of that dog.
Well, but either you have to. Now, she could have given the dog to a family that removed it from the stimuli.
Yeah.
Like not take it bird hunting. So I don't entirely agree with it, but I understand why. Because once it kills the chickens, because people who don't have chickens don't understand. Most dogs are fine with chickens. they don't, because there's a part of their brain that kind of recognizes that you don't touch this, because they see their humans interact with them, so they kind of leave it alone for the most part. But if a dog is killing chickens, and from the fact that it has an S on the end of it means she did it more than once, it's the dog can't differentiate, which means it also puts young children in danger, it puts cats in danger, it puts a bunch of other things in danger at that point. And it's you can try to get them removed and put them in like a place where it's less likely for them to run into stuff, but if it's to that level and it moved to bite her and putting it down, I personally probably wouldn't have shot it, but unless I had to. But yeah, putting it down would probably the best bet. That's how you know most conservatives are city conservatives or suburban conservatives, because if they were country conservatives, they'd be like, no, I understand.
Yeah, boy, do you have the handle on that. That's perfectly put.
Because it's like it's like they're all, well, okay, they're not city conservatives because those don't happen very much unless they're upper echelon. They're suburban conservatives. Right. They're the people who buy a house with like a half an acre and then say, I'm going to homestead, and then not understand what the fuck it actually means.
Take care of 5 acres of woods.
I know, it's like, come at me, motherfucker. But yeah, no, if she was that bad, she probably attacked one of the older dogs too, from the way some things sound. But yeah, no, you got to put the dog down at that point. Like, it's not,
yep,
or you can drug it out of its mind.
She really shouldn't have said anything, though.
Oh no, she shouldn't have. No,
boy,
agreed.
Exactly
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what dooms her is that she doesn't have the shut up judgment to know when not to let that kind of stuff fly. She's far enough along in her career where she should have developed that. Barack Obama was a master of this by the time he was birthed.
She needs a Malcolm Tucker to keep her on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Well, the issue is like either her editor for her book didn't see a problem with it, or her editor knew it was going to get her in trouble and just let it stay in the book.
She got her editor on Fiverr.
There is no, especially considering the fact that she put the age of the dog, because they could have like played it off that maybe the dog was older, but saying it's a 14-month-old dog, that's going to set people off too. Like
that's upsetting. Yeah,
it's like your editor, your proofreaders, maybe if you had beta readers, no one freaking caught that. Like, you're in politics, Schnickel Fritz. Like, good lord. Get a clue.
Yeah. Hi, Sora.
Hello.
What's new and exciting with you?
Nothing. It was a bit of a depressing day, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, maybe this will cheer you up. Air Canada apologizes to National Chief after flight crew tried to take her headdress away.
Whoops. Someone made a big whoopsie. Okay.
Yeah, apparently that's just something that's not done. You get on an airplane and you just can't make her check her headdress in the luggage or something.
God forbid.
Because I guess it's like a sacred object or something, and saying you can't have that in the overhead compartment or on your lap during takeoff is just not something you're allowed to do. It's kind of crazy. It feels like weird special treatment surrounding like a mystical object, and I'm having trouble wrapping my American head around this.
Senator Warren, well, what a pleasure to have you aboard.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Was it so?
Okay,
I'm so confused,
here's the story. It says, Air Canada says it's sorry after staff tried to stow away the headdress of the Assembly of First Nations National Chief in cargo storage before the departure of a flight on Wednesday.
Okay.
The company said in a statement Thursday, it's apologizing to the National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Nepanak, who said on social media Thursday she was forced to hand over a case containing the headdress that was with her in the plane's cabin. I won't be letting anyone take away my headdress or case again.
Suddenly, it's a suitcase.
Yeah. Sorry, Sora. What were you going to say?
Okay, so it's no, because I was wondering if she just brought it out, you know.
You just put it on. Sorry.
This is my emotional support hat.
So it's okay. So it's a case that makes that makes it bulkier and big and okay.
Well, Well, the thing is, considering how big that headdress is,
Mm-hmm.
if that case was bigger than what's supposed to be allowed on the plane, of course they're going to make you put it in cargo, bitch.
Almost certainly what that was.
Yeah.
So
They
because
probably
it's like, I'm
said
trying to
stow it
think
in the
because
front.
I
Yeah.
fly Air Canada. So like, was she on an Air Canada flight or a Rouge flight?
Air Canada.
Or like, because they have like the smaller planes where they don't really have think
The regional planes.
yeah, the little regional ones, yeah, so where that really doesn't have much space. But
What,
I mean, I would
don't
assume
I don't
maybe
understand the line she says there, though. Air Canada needs a protocol for first people so that where you're not harassed for our sacred items, our headdresses don't belong in parentheses garbage bags by airlines.
yeah,
was in
see,
a
that doesn't make any
case.
sense. If it was in its own case, then they're not putting it in garbage. No. Two things happened here. One, or the one that I'm going to get canceled over, I'll say it first. She did this on purpose to cause a scene.
Yeah, agreed.
Because there's no way she hasn't traveled before with the same headdress, because she'll be using it for any parliamentary thing or whatever. Anytime she'll be doing any sort of TV appearance or speech, etc. So that means she's most likely had it in with her traveling before. It is a very large headdress. It's probably stiff, and you'd have to be very, very careful not to crush those flowers. Sorry, the feathers. So I can see it fitting in maybe a duffel bag or sort of a softer sided carry-on, but that would be the only thing in there. And then that would be whether or not it'll fit with it, because everything is so small nowadays. I don't know. But come on, did no one say like, "Hey, you have to be thick"? But no, this is Air Canada cucking to. Sorry, I should have said that word. This is Air Canada just being a coward to the situation, because all they had to say is that while they understand the significance of something like this, and they are, we try very hard to make sure nothing's ever damaged for our customers. At the same time, safety is our main concern, and not having something stowed properly away is not only dangerous for you, but you are endangering the passengers around you, as we can never predict if there's any sort of turbulence or other medical issue on board that may interfere with. And let her dig her own grave by going on and on about how it's nothing to do with people's safety and all about by cultural rights.
Well, it's like the thing under the picture says, the National Chief said staff wanted to put her headdress in a cargo storage because there was no room in cabin, and that the situation got tense. She said the flight crew threatened her staff, sure, and passengers stood up for her.
And then everyone clapped.
Yeah,
where's the video?
How
We're
brave.
in 2024. We are in 2024.
Oh wait, let me
Where's the
scroll
video?
down.
Where's the TikTok?
Well, it even says that the case was put in the plastic bag, and it was probably meant to protect the case, because that's what they do sometimes. They'll wrap it.
Yeah, they put
and
that
it's
Air
like
Canada, if it's the bigger planes, if you go into first class, they have, like probably most first class, closet space for their customers in that class. If you ask, for example, if you're a bride and you come on board, your carry-on is a garment bag or something like this, they will take that. Most of the time, they will politely take it for you. They will hang it in first class as a courtesy. I've seen it happen before.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My friend came home. I remember in grade 12 with her prom dress when they were from Hawaii of all places, because they just happened to find a dress there. They took it from her to hang it properly in first class. If she was in that class, say she had a seat in first class, they do have closet space that could have fit that, but it would still need to be taken away from her.
Well, she claims that she usually put it in her lap, and it's kind of like if
they allowed her, then every single flight she would have been on with that should be audited for safety, and Air Canada should be under safety review and grounded.
Oh no! The article gets worse. Apparently, it got so bad the pilot had to get involved and had to return it to her.
Saying she made a stink about it?
Oh, she made a big enough stink. The pilot was just like, "Here, bitch, take your shit."
So she handed something to somebody and then made them give it back.
If she caused a scene on board an airliner, the law is stacked pretty heavily in favor of the airlines. At least,
Well, I know, but
But she's
it's
special.
Canada and she's First Nations. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah,
to
no,
her.
all the power is hers.
Yeah, the air that
Wow.
this plane is flying in, this magic bird, this is
I know
ours.
we took it from them.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop trying to get Sora canceled.
She already said the C words. I think we're screwed.
Yeah,
She
no,
said
that
Canuck.
that slipped out. Oh,
She
that
said
slipped
Canuck.
out. Sorry.
She said Canuck,
I
it's
am
fine.
sorry, Minions.
Skep, would you do the honors of welcoming
Yeah, let's
our guest,
see,
please?
See who this
Since
is.
you do it way better than I do.
I don't
There's
know
Capital
about that,
Wizard.
but it's always good to see everybody in chat. And, let's just put this page up here. There we are. All right. We have a number of folks with us. Mike is here. Mike R is becoming a regular here. Nice to see you, Mike. JB is here. Mash is here. Hey, Mash, how you doing, hon? Good to see you. And Spittlebuggy has also come to join us this evening. I said JB. Green Badger is here. Badger, it's nice to see you. What happened to your Twitter account? DM me, bro. Cannibalistic Wizard has shown up. It's just
Welcome.
nice to see everybody here tonight. Thanks for coming and listening to us. We enjoy what you have to say as much as you enjoy what we have to say, probably more. Anyway, thanks for coming by.
High functional.
Hey, Mike.
Oh no, that's not fun.
Oh, dog.
No, I was gonna say that does.
What is
I don't think
this?
that's functional. That's a geodes.
Hey.
I thought
Hello.
functional was being sassy with the Ghost of Goop's past.
So how
No,
are things
I
in the
mean-
desert,
Sassy.
my friend?
I was looking for a different image, but I figured, hey, this works. So
Yeah. We'll keep that small so nobody could see it. Anyway, so how are things in the desert?
it's okay. We actually have some rain. So that's nice.
Yay.
Except for the underneath of the.
Well, we'll get to that.
Don't make him
That-
sad like you know
Yeah.
this early.
Yeah, I still need to go down there. Just saying. But anyways, so yeah, I'm good.
Giggity.
Okay. Well, let's see. Where shall we begin tonight?
In hell, because
That wasn't the start. I'm already amped up, man. Bring on more.
Okay. Well,
Let's
let's
go.
let's do something. I mean, we got so much stuff we could talk about. Let's just do something pleasant first.
Just take this road to hell. Let's go.
Okay, NASA reveals glass smooth lake of cooling lava on the surface of Jupiter's moon Io.
There you go.
Look at that.
Pretty.
That is pretty.
It actually looks like an eye. That's also
Oh,
creepy.
Don't
With a
frickin' say
cataract.
that. Don't say that, because the Ancient Aliens is going to start their shit again, and I don't need to deal.
Yeah,
It is it's a preserved. Jupiter is now a like
Io.
some sort of
Io's Jupiter's moon. Io is.
Io.
massively volcanic, sulfurous. Yeah, Io.
Which if you're
It's-
You go.
if you're a D&D nerd, Io is the god of all gods. That's another thing entirely.
Hey yo.
Don't drink the forbidden Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That's all
Yes.
I'm gonna-
Yeah, no, it's
Don't
That
drink
looks
spicy
more
Kool-Aid.
like
Raspberry
Jell-O
jam.
with frost, like with whipped cream on top.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't eat the forbidden Jello.
Io is a
That-
giant
that's also-
Danish.
It's IO, but is it standard IO?
No,
That was for Harry.
block Io,
E-I-E-I-O. Woohoo!
There you go.
fast Io.
Later, spittle buggies.
Bye, Spittle.
Bye,
Bye,
Spittle.
Spittle.
We're losing. Are we driving people away with our bad space
Oh,
humor?
no, I think Spittle's got to bounce anyway, and they just wanted to say hi.
Hey, Skep, you want to make fun of China?
Oh, sure.
That's half the fun. Do it.
Okay, Chinese scientists close in on laser propulsion for super fast silent submarines.
Yeah. Good luck
Is this
with
the
that.
same super silent submarines that got stuck on the bottom of the ocean and killed half?
I don't know. I think this is from the South China Morning Post, so it might as well be the National Enquirer, except it's just all Chinese propaganda. No, scientists developing. Oh, now they're blocking me out. Well, it doesn't matter because it's just stupid from the thing. They essentially have this lattice work of lasers that go through fiber optics along the outside of the thing, making it like stealthy and super fast and quiet, and it's totes going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have absolutely no problem. In fact, their submarines make so much noise that we actually have to adjust our equipment. That's the truth.
Yeah,
That's
habitual
the
line crosser.
absolute truth.
You're going to turn the squelch up.
So that we don't miss a Soviet sub that's much quieter.
Well,
Yeah,
The Soviet subs are notoriously noisy.
HLC makes the joke all the time in his YouTube shorts where he's like, your left piston's knocking. When he's talking.
habitual line crosser.
Yeah, I
yeah.
love him.
Yeah. He's the guy that keeps putting lips on F-22s, and then they talk smack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Would
yeah.
you intercept me? I'd intercept me. I love it.
I'm waiting for the Chinese rendition of Hunt for the Red October. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah,
okay?
it's
Good
Yeah.
luck with that one.
too bad your submarine was made out of substandard parts because they
Too
lied.
bad it was made by China.
Yeah, that's actually the problem is people see the miracles that the United States does with its submarines and things like and true of the space race too. True of semiconductors, true of a lot of things. What they don't have is that infrastructure to contribute that perfectly machined drive coupling in a propulsion train that makes cavitation quiet in a submarine drive. They don't have the precisely worked out specifications and materials understanding that we have, and plus the miles of experience that we have. And so they try and they make something that looks just like an aircraft carrier, make something that looks just like a submarine, and they're shit. They get about at sea and they're on fire half the time.
Well, it was like
their aircraft carrier's been towed back in port twice.
Yeah, because it burned.
Yeah,
Big
went
old
out to
plume
sea
of
and they not only got set on fire, but it was a fire they couldn't put out. This wasn't an arson thing like the Bonhomme Richard. This was just normal ship's operation. The engine caught on fire.
Skep, I can't remember, is it the Russian one or the Chinese one that their aircraft carrier that they can't do it properly, so they have to have the runway so it goes up.
Well, no. Ski jump. Okay, ski jump runway. Let's talk about that. Ski jump runways basically mean that you have to get a much lighter plane into the air, which means almost an instant underway replenishment or air-to-air refueling. So you take off light without much fuel. And the reason that they do that is because they do not have a catapult assist to get a heavier plane off the deck. Catapult assist, you can get a much heavier plane launched into the air than you can with a ski jump. That's why they have the ski jump. Now the Russian aircraft carrier, they also had problems with it. It burned a couple of times. The first couple of times it went out, it couldn't even complete sea trials. And they've had a world of trouble with that. That's just a very poorly built ship, though, from what we can see.
Okay, I just wasn't sure because I remember seeing pictures of the Chinese one as it was on fire and seeing that like the tippy nose, and I'm just like, what the fuck is that?
Oh no! That in fact, you'll see that on the British carriers as well. They use the ski jump also.
Yeah, because
They tend to have lighter attacker.
They ought to retire those carriers. That's what they ought to do.
Then the new British carrier actually has the ski jump up, and they will claim that there's less wear and tear on the aircraft because the steam catapults are pretty rough. We have new electromagnetic catapults on the newer U.S. carriers, which are easier on the airframes. So
why don't they use what we use?
Because it's expensive, and they don't have two nuclear reactors.
Right, exactly. Did you mention the fact that we put not one but two nuclear reactors aboard these carriers?
Yeah, that's so. But speaking of submarines,
and it can run just fine on one, by the way.
Of course,
that I've heard. I've also heard that an aircraft carrier by itself, like the Eisenhower, can like run. It can like be self-sufficient for like 3 months, like with food and everything like that, without having to need any. Like,
Yeah,
I like when they time
what you're
travel.
looking for.
That was really good. I remember that movie. So we're actually retiring the Ohio class submarines, and that's supposed to be coming in like 2 years.
F's in chat.
What?
The Ohio class.
Yeah,
Sweet
definitely
sons of
F's in
bitches.
chat. Oh wait, that's
the
last week's.
I got you.
But we've got
Actually,
some new submarines coming along.
as long as it's not like the Zumwaltz.
It's not the Zumwalt class. Then the new hotness for the
Columbia.
U.S. is going to be the Columbia class. It's a big boy, 155 crew, 16 missiles. Yeah,
Wait, time out. I love the fact that the Columbia is like what? How much longer than the Dreadnought class?
Yeah.
By the Brits. It's like, honey, don't call it the fucking Dreadnought if you can't.
well, it's
if not
18
bigger than-
meters. It's like 18 meters longer.
Jesus, British, come on. You have Liverpool who built everything.
They're
Just use
trying.
Liverpool
They're
guys
trying.
who
And then
built
there's the
some
French
shit,
submarine that's down at the bottom.
It's
which
but
is
they-
very French.
The SNLE 3G.
why
That's what a
Now,
great
what-
name.
Why
Got
is
'em.
the British one longer
Hey.
than the French one, but it has less missiles? Why?
Yeah.
It's
Don't
just
be
Britain.
fooled
I
by the
don't
number
know.
of. Don't be fooled by the number of missiles.
Yeah.
I know
number of
which
These
is
are
warheads.
more accurate.
what
It's the
I'm
number
hoping.
of warheads on each missile.
Okay,
Matters.
they
Yeah.
don't list that.
And the
I can't
French
click on
warheads
the
are all
back.
painted with like shiny black lacquer paint with like a red pinstripe, so they look really cool.
They look
boy.
amazing.
They have the
Amazing way
sexiest
to
looking
die.
warheads. What it's true. They actually
That's
do.
because that's
That.
what you want. That's what you
The-
want.
The big concern right now with the Columbia class is that we don't actually have a lot of the manufacturing ready for
Well, that's-
it.
This is the
for
reason why
it.
the Ohio's not getting retired for 2 years.
Yeah,
Well, you
but
know
it's they're still trying to do it on timetable, and
But-
they're
well, they
behind.
always-
Well, you
do.
know who's doing a really good job of that. I think Serenity can probably guess who's really good at building ships on schedule. Serenity,
Like none of them.
South Korea. U.S.
Oh,
Navy Secretary says he
boy.
was floored by a Pacific ally shipbuilding abilities amid American warship production woes.
It is Korea though, so I don't know how much.
But when they build like ships in Korea, they can tell you pretty much to the day when that thing is going to be in the
absolutely
water.
Wait, now
Right.
the cell phones that were exploding,
Yeah.
is that Korean? Was that a Korean brand?
That's,
I
that's
can't remember.
lithium batteries.
Lithium-ion batteries are really energy dense, and then people
Yeah.
do stupid things like sleep on top of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm among those people, which is why I have a really rugged phone. I do terrible things to my phone. I drop it. I sleep on top of it sometimes. It's just terrible. That's why I buy these mil-spec, almost indestructible phones now. I'm so happy because I just hate. It's just that thing. You drop your phone on 3 feet onto a wooden floor, and then suddenly it's no longer a phone.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's just unacceptable. For something that's that important to me, I don't want it to be like fragile jewelry. I know, I'm being preachy. But yeah, I thought this was actually kind of interesting. The Koreans have really got their production stuff down to a science. Now, admittedly, they're not building aircraft carriers that are as complex as the things that we're building.
Yeah,
submarines,
and not to mention their population's bottoming out like hardcore, so it's not like they're gonna have people who can like be in them.
And we better get them to
Well,
get
they can
busy.
sell them.
Yeah, they can sell them
You
at
know?
least, which will keep China at bay.
Yeah.
As long as they don't sell them to China, but South Korea and China
Stupid
don't get along
China.
very well. So,
No, they're not exactly what you'd call friends.
Actually, if you examine birth rates, the entire world will be Muslim in about 100 years.
the way the
Just thought
Muslims
I'd
keep
pass that
fucking,
along.
the way the Muslims keep fucking up, I don't know if that's true.
Well, until
They're
they
all
start
gonna kill
disagreeing with
other.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll all kill each other.
My book says the bull was white. My book says the bull was red. I kill you.
Muhammad
Yeah, it's-
didn't sleep with a 9-year-old. What?
Pretty sure I have a meme for that somewhere. Anyway.
Oh, I think we all do.
No, we're not going to do that.
And
So-
you're the only one canceled tonight.
So I've got a little bit of
Right there with
a
you,
follow up.
Sora.
Remember how I told you I hate roundabouts because they're just unnatural and they annoy me?
Oh, is this the new roundabout thing
Yeah.
that they were going to do?
Well, they put a roundabout near Hollister,
damn.
which is south of
Is this
San
one of the
Jose,
new design ones?
and the accidents at that
Turbo
intersection
roundabout.
that it was supposed to be made safer have quadrupled.
Because Americans don't know how to use roundabouts. We
Is
don't
this
know what
the
they
one
are.
with the marked fling lanes and all that?
It's a turbo roundabout near
Yeah.
Hollister, between San Juan Bautista and Hollister, and they've quadrupled the number of
Outstanding.
accidents. I'll take your city planning, expose it to the harsh reality of life.
California drivers.
Yeah, have fun with that. Yet another reason not to go to Hollister. Okay.
That's fantastic. Well done.
If you've
Yeah.
ever spent any time in Hollister, there's a lot of reasons not to go to Hollister.
Could be worse. Could be Oakland.
You know, there's a brand. Well, it could be Oakland. I mean, that's true. So yeah, there's that clothing brand. I can't remember which one it was that has all the stuff that's branded as Hollister.
Yeah.
The Hollister.
Yeah,
Hollister.
and if you know what Hollister, the actual city, is like, it's hilarious to see all these people running around with like booty shorts that say Hollister on the back.
Yeah, you just go.
I honestly, to my shame, will admit this online.
Yeah?
I did not realize that was a real place.
You've never been to Hollister. If you had, you wouldn't think that was
I
a
have
great
not.
line.
I've owned stuff from Hollister, but I had a friend whose mother used to live in California, and when you go into Hollister, they have projection screens that show like beaches and stuff like that. And she
Yeah.
was always just like, "Oh, that's Malibu. That's not Hollister. Hollister
Yeah.
is nothing like that." And I'm like,
I
"Wow."
thought Hollister was like someone's name, and then that's why
Well,
they
it was.
Malibu.
Well, it
and-
It was a long time ago.
I
But
loved Hollister.
Hollister the
It
town.
smelled so good.
Hollister the town is kind of rural, very Hispanic, and very, very close to the San Andreas Fault. It's just not a place you want to be.
No beach. No beach in
No
sight,
beach,
basically.
hot. Mexican food's pretty good. That's about it. Actually, no, that's not entirely true. There is an airport there that has where a lot of people will fly in to have their $500 hamburgers. And they do some air show stuff out at the Hollister airport. So, excuse me, there are things to do in Hollister if you
It's
have a
actually
private
big
plane.
skydiving town.
Yeah, it
Hollister's
actually is.
actually a big skydiving town.
I'd forgotten about the airport in Hollister.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to get a
Almost went
custom
to the
saddle
Hollister
made
party.
for your motorcycle, Hollister's also a great place. There's some really good motorcycle related things there. So, you hanging in okay, Geodes?
Yeah.
Oh, I found the roundabout.
Oh, I found a
God.
paper about it. I was like looking at it going, that
I
looks
see
like
the
a death
roundabout
trap.
on Google Earth that they're talking about.
It looks like a death trap.
So,
It has a weird indentation lane that
It does.
Yeah.
It's
What
like,
it does.
what
I've
the
read about
mother-
this. How they're
so Geodes, have you ever ridden a motorcycle?
No, I have not.
Well, if you did have a motorcycle and you also had a kid, what would you do? Would you take the kid on the motorcycle?
Ugh.
Rhetorical question.
Introducing the Easy Rider.
oh,
Whether
God.
you've been a motorcyclist your whole life or never ridden before, the Easy Rider is every parent's solution for a
snap.
healthier baby.
It gives them higher neck strength. It's it's perfect. So this is actually not a serious video. The guys at
Yeah.
Revzilla decided it would be fun to basically put fake babies on motorcycles and then ride around off road with
And-
with the little babies on there. So they have one little seat that faces forward that goes on top of the gas tank, and another one
crash
that's
dummy
like
helmet.
behind the back.
Oh, look how cute the babies are.
Yeah, so
with their
they just
rolled back
they
neck.
just strap them in and go for a ride. So, yeah, so
boy.
this is
That is
over on the
tippy top?
Revzilla channel. No, that's brake fluid.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
That's how you can tell
Oh,
you
I
that
didn't
you
even
still
know
have
brake
brake
fluid.
fluid. Yeah.
And this was how they got canceled, like the South Carolina governor. Sorry, too soon. All right, so
Come on,
Yeah.
man.
or South Dakota rather.
Yeah, so you just want to like put your kid on there and then take them out for track days. It's really good for their neck. It keeps them from
Yeah,
being all
yeah.
wobbly and floppy because who wants a floppy kid?
Yeah, who wants a bobblehead
God
for a
forbid.
child?
Anyway, I thought this was actually pretty enjoyable.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah. Babies on bikes. These are not the babes you're looking for. Okay, so
I can imagine there are probably a couple people who've done that with their kids that would never admit it whatsoever. Just like, nope.
nope.
Oh no, who would do this horrible thing? Oh God.
Well,
Right.
San Francisco managed to manage to sort of do something semi-competently, and the sheer shock of it was enough to make them have a party. A San Francisco neighborhood threw a mini festival to celebrate a public toilet that cost $200,000 instead of $1.7 million.
There you go. That's better.
Wow.
Still not good.
Wow.
But that's better.
Yeah, still not good.
It should not cost as much as condominium. It shouldn't.
Oh, Jesus.
It should be less expensive than a condominium.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's San Francisco,
Yeah.
so not really that shocked. I'm amazed they got it underneath the 1.7 million.
And they all celebrate by drinking and eating a whole lot, and then having to visit that exact toilet to to throw up
What?
afterwards.
I mean, the thing is like, one, those flowers are going to be dead in a week. Two, that water fountain's going to be broken off in like 2 weeks. That door is going to be gone,
Busted.
and the red will be gone because it'll be covered in graffiti.
The interior will
good
be
for them.
defiled in every way imaginable.
Someone's gonna shoot an
God.
OnlyFans porn in that.
That bathroom is going to see
guaranteed.
some
Oh.
things.
Somebody's going to be living on top of that roof.
That's the reason why it's slanted.
Yeah.
I
So they
mean,
roll
they'll-
off when they
they'll-
sleep.
They'll find a way.
Yeah.
Oh, they always do.
They always do.
They'll just plank. No, they'll Batman. Does everybody remember Batmaning? I remember Batmaning.
I don't remember
Oh, when they
Batmaning.
crouch?
No, the Batmaning
like
was where
owl?
they would like find a way to hang themselves off just by the front of their feet, and like hang upside down. And it was called
Oh, yeah,
Batmaning.
okay.
Yeah.
Say, do you want to talk about dog surfing? Just say yes.
Is California
course.
banning it?
No.
No, they're not banning it. So Bay Area now too expensive for annual dog surfing competition. So at Half Moon Bay, well, actually here on the coast, they do the World Dog Surfing Championships. It's north of and what's happened is they've raised the price of the permits to do like an event on the beach by 100% over the last 3 years. And, you know, there's not a lot of money in dog surfing competitions. So it's looking like they're going to have to cancel the dog surfing because the greedy bastards have raised the permitting fees so much. It's like kind of like the headdress thing. If we're going to start making exceptions for people, can't we just let the dogs surf? I mean, seriously. This kind of annoys me because it's so anti-fun and for no good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pro dog rights, though. Those dogs are tired of being used as props.
Yeah. And if any of them get out of hand, we can always bring Christy Gnome in.
Yeah,
Teach them
No,
things.
Jesus.
Good Lord,
the dog.
Barry.
The cost of the permits are at least $10,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, it says as of Wednesday afternoon, more than 130 people have donated a little more than half of the GoFundMe's goal of $10,000. They just want to have dogs go surfing. It's like there's no real money associated with it. Just let the dogs surf, for God's
Apparently,
sakes.
they have vendors there. But a bunch of them are small businesses, so they can't raise the cost of it.
Yeah.
And it's just, way to go, assholes. Way to go.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah. Assholes.
Also,
Let the dogs surf.
They also have to amortize some legal expense. Lawyers are a big reason.
All right.
It's a
Just beware of
entry fee.
Otter 841. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Make sure that bitch is not pregnant, because if she's pregnant, she's coming for you.
Yeah. Well, we are just all over the place. Let's just do this one here. Injury rates at SpaceX soar above industry norms. First of all, I'd love to know what they're comparing them to. Who is it that's doing the same kind of work that SpaceX is doing?
Yeah.
No, seriously, I'll wait. You mean the people who build rockets like one or two a year?
Roscosmos.
Yeah.
The communist Chinese party, Communist Party. Neither of them have ever had an accident that they've admitted to. So of course it soars above industry norms because these people actually admit that they have accidents. You're not going to get anything out of China or Russia that approaches the truth regarding failure. It's never been the case.
Yeah, I think building rockets is probably inherently more dangerous than most other manufacturing.
Yeah.
Just because of the size of the things you're working with and the tolerances, the fact you have to kind of get close. You can't just sort of take a hands-off approach and go, that looks good enough. I mean, you have to really sweat the detail, which means a human needs to be in there.
And anytime you're working with a compound that ends with the words tetroxide, it's dangerous.
Yeah. Which isn't to say that they shouldn't do everything possible to protect the people that are working there.
Apparently, it's gone up from last year, where it was there were reported injury rate of 4.8 per 100 workers, and it's now gone up to 5.9 per 100 workers. And these injuries range from anything from crushed limbs, cuts, burns, eye injuries, electrocutions, amputations, serious head injuries, all that kind of stuff.
They're a diversified manufacturing company. And that's coming from heavy R&D thing.
If you don't get electrocuted a little bit every now and then. I mean, I've been electrocuted a bunch of times.
Happened to me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Work with electronics, you'll cross the secondary at some point.
All I'm going to say is competency crisis. That's it.
I think it's difficult to do what they're doing, and they're probably pushing their crews pretty hard. And I expect they'll kind of get a handle on this.
Well, the article even says that the main brunt of it is the Pacific Coast workers, who are experiencing the highest injury rate of 7.6 per 100 workers.
I go back to Harry's original point. What is the industry norm? Where are they getting an industry norm?
Well, compared to itself, it's getting
valid.
worse, which is what Serenity pointed out. But still, what are you comparing it to?
Includes NASA. They're basing it on NASA's injury numbers.
Yeah, that's not private industry versus like NASA contractors building rockets. That isn't even going to be this. That's to say those are grossly different environments would be an understatement.
Yes.
Well, well, the thing is, the article kind of even states, and so does Reuters, that from what they can tell, it's the Pacific Coast workers who are causing the problem, but not causing the problem, but they're the ones who are having the most problem. But for some reason, the Atlantic team's not having as bad as an injury rate, and that's what they're trying to figure out why that is, because the Pacific are 7.6, the Atlantic's 3.5.
Yeah,
I stand by my statement earlier.
Well, my statement is do better. Okay, I mean, we understand that it's difficult, but do better.
Well, the thing is, Geos, I kind of understand what you're coming from, but at the same time, the people who do this shit have been doing this for decades in some cases. These are not newbies. These are not greenhorns. These are people you're not putting someone in the Pacific who doesn't know what the Pacific's like. You're putting like oil rig people who've done this shit for a long time. So this is not a competency thing. This is just, the Pacific's just a harder ocean to deal with than the Atlantic is. It just is.
Well,
she's a bitch.
Well, it doesn't matter. On any given day, either of those oceans will happily kill you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%.
I've actually a lot to say about that. But
the ocean's a like
Spend some
Cthulhu.
time
It
in
doesn't
both.
care about you.
But just the name Pacific Ocean, it's because it's peaceful. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to pacify your ass.
Yeah, they shouldn't let people name things too quickly. It's like people, some white dude shows up and just says, yeah, what a peaceful looking ocean. I'll call it the Pacific. It's like, oh, God, no. You don't know what you're
about
saying.
50 degrees north. How you like the Pacific up there?
So carpools are annoying, right? Carpool lanes and not being able to use them. Well, what if
HOV
you just had
Yeah.
like this sort of thing? So people are really starting to up their mannequin game.
Yeah.
This is from the CHP for Santa Fe Springs.
Stevie Wonder model there.
Yeah,
They've been doing this shit for years.
they have, but this mannequin is a little more sophisticated. It looks a lot like Frylock, by the way. So at least that's what I'm thinking.
It looks like a Yeezy mask.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. It looks like Kanye West. That's who it looks
Oh
like.
yeah, maybe that's a mask on a mannequin.
Slightly
Maybe that's what they
skinnier.
did.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what it is. They put
yeah.
a mask on a mannequin.
You should ask David Icke about this. Okay,
But
like
okay,
where the lizards
so
get their
these
masks.
carpool/HOV lanes for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really any faster?
Oh God,
Not
yes.
really.
Because here it's not.
Oh,
Like,
it's definitely
okay, there's a-
faster.
That's what happens eventually, is that eventually it doesn't get faster because people find ways to game the system.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
And
What's like in
it ends up being
California,
clogged up.
motorcyclists can use the HOV lane, right?
Motorcyclists can use the HOV lane. In California, you can actually, if you can do it safely, you can actually pass cars that aren't moving or moving slowly.
Yeah, you can.
So you can lane split and use the HOV lane, which is a privilege that I like to take advantage of often.
Well, I can only speak to the East Coast, but when it comes to like Louisville and places like that, it sometimes it depends on the time of day. Sometimes it's faster, most times it's not.
If everything's at a complete standstill, like, on Friday, well, New Friday is now Thursday, weirdly.
Yeah.
You're going to be stuck in traffic no matter what lane you're in, but about 80% of the time, the carpool lane is a huge advantage around here. So, Frylock. Okay, so this is a Kanye West mask.
What they should have done was they should have added the system that they put in those fish that flip out and start singing into this thing, and then that way they could play it when the officer comes up to trick them.
Are you trying to get them to play Benny the Bass?
Yes.
Benny the singing bass. That's what you
I
want.
want to get Benny the singing bass.
Okay, first off, that's Santa Fe. If anything makes a jerky move on the highway and a cop is walking up to it, he's shooting people.
How about that? How about that flamingo that poops, Sora?
No.
Oh no, gotta go.
I failed to see the negative here.
go.
Just saying, with my plan.
I would if the person has to be a certain skin color, and you're gonna have to start having race riots again. Summer of love, people. Summer of love.
Okay, well, let's advance the program counter here, or the pointer. So here's the thing about VPNs, because you guys have expressed a lot of cynicism about VPNs, that they're all useless. Well, independent auditors went in and poked under the hood of one of the VPN things, private internet access, and they found that they do indeed not log.
That's good.
Yeah.
Who are they owned by? Those are the two things I need to know. They don't log, and who are they owned by? That's who I need to know.
Yeah. And the reason they don't log is because they actually run their system in RAM. There is no disk for the logs to go into.
Yeah,
I might have to actually get that one then, because that one actually sounds like it actually is worth it.
Yeah. So, like I said, independent auditors from Deloitte went in and looked at this thing, and I'm guessing that most of the people here have never been through an IT audit of that sort. Auditors will come in, poke around at stuff, and you just have to cooperate with them. And these usually take several months. And they're quite intrusive in terms of the stuff they look at. They will look at things like the source code for your system. They will look at how the systems are provisioned, what kind of parts you use, everything imaginable. These audits are no joke. And if Deloitte has signed off and said that private internet access is actually not keeping logs, at least for the time being, I'm willing to believe them. Now, these audits have to be repeated, because you don't want, like I said, some Chinesium company to come in and just change it the day after they get their certification.
And that's been the problem with a lot of these, is you have companies that are known for putting spyware and malware out, buying up a lot of them. And this is my thing, is like, I'm sure it's a fine VPN based off of what you're describing here. I would still advocate, if you're going to do a VPN, look into something like OpenVPN or something like that, where you have way more control over the system, and I can actually learn how it works inside and out.
Well, OpenVPN is a point-to-point SSL VPN client, and you have to have another point to connect to. So OpenVPN is a protocol; it's not a VPN service. So, and I agree with you about OpenVPN. It is an extremely fine product, which gets the Hairy Channel's seal of approval. However, you still need to have somebody offering the service for you to connect to. And that somebody, you ideally want them doing two things. One, not keeping logs, and two, using a type of encryption that has what's called perfect forward secrecy, meaning that the ephemeral keys that are used in the course of running the encryption, if things get hacked later, you can't just go back after the fact and redecode something.
Counterpoint, though, Harry.
Yeah.
They could also do what we've also been advocating for, and do encrypted DNS and stuff like that on top of it.
Encrypted DNS is fantastic.
Yeah. So
and you want to use that even if you are using a VPN.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you want to have multiple layers of protection.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like the VPN is fine, but you don't want to just have a VPN.
No.
Okay.
Protocol.
I did some research.
Okay.
It's one. If you want private internet access VPN, if you do sign up for 3 years and 3 months, it's like $2 a month.
Pretty cheap.
Saying that if anybody wants it, but they are owned by Cape Technologies. And Cape Technologies is owned by Unicmend Group, which is run by a company run by an Israeli businessman named Ted Sagi. So, as far as I can tell, no one besides like an Israeli like owns this shit. So, and I doubt the Israeli guy is going to sell out to China.
Well, in the past, I've used like Viper VPN and stuff that was from the Swiss companies that were really big on privacy and security stuff. So I've had phones in the past that had government level encryption stuff on them.
Oh, he owns Camden Market in London too.
Mm.
Damn.
All right. Well, I don't think people
Nice,
care
sir.
about VPNs that much. I just figured you would be curious to know there was an audit of one of the VPN services, and they were found to not be completely full of crap.
Don't
Mark
overrely
it.
on your VPN. It doesn't really keep you as private as you may think it does.
Don't do illegal things that are going to get you in jail to begin with.
No,
Honestly, I
It's
think most
nice
people
little
just
bow.
use it for stream services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Sora and I already had that conversation. I was
For
like,
location
I
shifting.
don't know if this is going to show up in
They
Netflix
are-
Canada or not, but check.
They are way more
Yeah.
popular in Asia than a lot of other countries because
Well,
like
they have
South
to.
Korea
That's-
blocks like Japan blocks South
Well, I
Korea,
mean,
China blocks everybody, So.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is like if you want to use Twitter or YouTube or anything in any of those countries, you need a VPN.
On the Tweety.
Yeah.
This is all going to be funny in 10 years when nobody is blocking anybody anymore because
Or it's going
the opportunity to trade money around the world is just going to be too appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as
Starting to have
JFK Jr. puts the entire U.S. government on the blockchain,
RFK.
Sorry, no, RFK,
Jr.'s
sorry.
dead.
Yeah,
JFK
Jeff
Jr.'s
Kennedy
dead.
Jr.
yeah, he was the one that
He
died
flew
in
his
the plane
I
plane.
think he was driving. He was flying around in an airplane with like a ceremonial headdress in the cabin,
There you
and
go.
it just
He wasn't watching his horizon.
With
he
the-
did a monkey's
Slid.
impersonation.
And he
Yes.
killed his wife and his wife's friend, I think.
He Buddy Hollied
His
hard.
sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Fun fact:
Yes.
that headdress is worn by the former Trudeau.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's delightful.
Yeah. So here's something fun. Well, I mean, kind of fun. Decipher Herculaneum papyrus reveals precise burial place of Plato. So they've been going through these burned up remains of stuff from Pompeii, and with enough trickery, they were actually able to find a record of where Plato is supposedly buried. The information isn't really the interesting thing. The fact that they're able to even do stuff like this is pretty amazing. So scientists have brought all manner of cutting-edge tools to bear on deciphering badly damaged ancient texts like the Herculaneum scrolls. For example, in 2019, German scientists used a combination of physics techniques, synchrotron radiation, infrared spectroscopy, and X-ray fluorescence to virtually unfold an ancient Egyptian papyrus. Because these things are like burned and in coils.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to do a lot of, get out your tricorder, scan it from a billion different directions, and then put it together
Right.
like a CAT scan. It's
Pray to God.
it's pretty crazy. But yeah, they've actually been able to decipher a lot of stuff that's been illegible before now, and this to me is really cool because I remember like 30 years ago thinking, why don't they just use X-rays and build a 3D model and figure out where this stuff goes? Well, finally, the computers and stuff have reached the point where we can do that, which is awesome. Yeah. If they just stop hiding all the really good stuff in the Vatican basement. Oh, never mind. That's a conspiracy theory. I disavow.
No, I think the Vatican is owned up. They have stuff down there. What
Yeah.
they have, who knows? But
Yeah. Let's see. What did I put in the thumbnail? What did I agree that we were talking about?
there was the dog, so we covered the dog.
We covered the dogs because we have all this stuff we could cover. Let's see. Good times make weak children. Okay, I'm going to piss everybody off. This will be fun. So I saw this video, and it kind of ties in with something that we talked about before, and it annoys me irrationally.
Okay.
Hours to teach my kids. If you can't get it done in that time frame, it needs to move to tomorrow. We have 4 hours with them when they get home. No, I am not wasting it on homework. Family time, sports, and real life is more important than my kids having to work overtime in elementary school.
Okay. Oh, good. Super cash acquisition method. Okay, never mind. Don't click on that. Okay.
At the elementary level, I agree with him. Once you reach middle school, junior high, and high school, fuck it, you need homework.
Even by the time you reach first grade, you should be taking books home and you should be practicing your reading. Your multiplication tables are something that you should be doing outside of class. I honestly think, because I grew up, during the Cold War, when they were doing all this stuff because we were afraid that the Russians were just going to own us, the gifted education stuff and all this other sort of stuff. And we actually felt like there was an existential threat. The kind of comments that guy's making are the comments from somebody who's just a little too comfortable. Because if you've got kids that are going to be on an academic track someday, by all means, they should be reading an hour a night when they get home. They should be doing their multiplication tables. All of this shit actually matters. And your kids are not going to have his kids, meaning, are not going to have a competitive advantage with the kids at the Kumon Math Center or the Russian Math Center, or any of the other things there. It's always going to be, the Asian kid whose parents make him work who's going to be the valedictorian. It's begging for mediocrity is what it is. And I get the point he's trying to make, but it's just wrong.
Well, okay, so the thing is that there's a difference between independent study and homework. Should they be independent studying? Yes. Should they be reading, doing times tables, practicing? Yes. I do not consider that homework.
Oh, it's definitely homework, but at least in my opinion it is. And I think it would be in his as well.
I will say, as somebody who there were several classes in high school I got slammed with a lot of assignments, and I can tell you right now I don't remember a lot of stuff I studied from them. I would say it's less about homework and how much homework you have, and more about like quality and what specifically you're studying. It's one of those things where I'm torn between, because there's always people who are like, oh, well, if you're like, we should be, being able to teach calculus in high school and all these other high level, like academic things versus like, no, we need to scale back because that's just over teaching. And there's no way like kids are going to be able to learn all of that. And it's one of those things where I'm like,
most kids don't need calculus.
Yeah. It's one of those things where
Everybody needs calculus.
They at least need algebra 2. That's the minimum.
Algebra and geometry 2, I agree with you. Calculus.
No, not algebra and geometry 2. Algebra 2 is the one they definitely need.
I did better at geometry than I did at algebra. So that's what helped me, because it actually makes me understand.
Geometry is where you learn to think logically. It isn't so much about the geometry. It's about learning to think in a way that's it's the first time you're actually forced to think in a formal way for those kinds of proofs and things. So geometry is a really useful tool. It's like learning Pascal, when you
when you're learning to program. That's exactly right. That's a really good analogy.
Well, anyway, Geodes, continue.
Sorry, Geodes.
Is that
I knew I was going to piss people off. Go ahead.
Giving people homework for the sake of giving people homework is not useful. Yeah. You want to actually, because the point is to ingrain what info they need to know into them in terms of like, can they replicate that stuff in like time tests? Can they remember that stuff off the top of their heads? That's ultimately kind of what you're trying to get at. That's the whole point of homework, in my opinion. And I've, as somebody who, the only way I was not a good tester. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times I did well by doing a lot of homework, but there were times where I was just so slammed I had to start deciding what assignments to pick and drop because it was just too much. And that was just due to bad teaching, because a lot of teachers don't communicate with each other or don't really understand sometimes how much they're just throwing at people. So I'm very leery of arguments where it's like, oh, well, we need to try and shove all this info into somebody's brain, or, oh, well, we just need to give all these assignments and like show that, oh, we look how much work that our kids are doing. And it's like, no, you have a very specific goal and you need to try and figure out how to streamline that process for a group of kids who frankly are all under the umbrella of No Child Left Behind, which is that in and of itself is another can of worms. So.
Yeah. Well, I was really surprised when I looked through the comments for this video, because I thought, okay, well, this guy is just wrong. Okay, this is comfort talking. And then I was reading through the comments. I noticed, like, it says, as a teacher, I became very unpopular with the staff because I said this. It was a low-income, mostly single mother group of kids, because we always have to bring class into it, right? I'd summarize what I confirmed they showed they got. Then I'd have two-sided large text summary, either with fill in the blanks. If they didn't get it, okay, never mind. That's the wrong comment. This is stupid. But the point is, even the teachers were saying that they didn't think homework was a good idea. Well, of course they don't. They want to just have the lecture and then have them do independent study in class, because if they're doing independent study in class, they don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would love 7 hours of the students just having pre-masticated work plans that they pull out, because then they wouldn't have to do it. So it's like you have to do lecture during the day and basically things that function as labs. And then you take some of the other work home where it's quiet and you can read. But I'm sorry, I just find the comparison, this has got to be a generational thing. That's all I can think. Because, like I said, during the Cold War, when we were worried about the Russians kicking our asses, if you said something like this, people would just laugh at you, because they'd say, well, the Russians are putting out 10,000 math PhDs a year. We're putting out about 1,500. And the Chinese kids are getting all the math drilled into their heads, and they're really good at it. And we're just going to fall behind. It just feels like we've gotten a little too comfortable. I think my comment I wrote next to this is buttersoft bitch.
Well, to be fair, if the dad is the type of dad that I think he is.
Yeah.
If those kids are in sports, considering the way he dresses and the way he talks, those kids are probably going to be talked down to like a piece of shit. So they won't be that soft. They just will be academically soft.
Well, obviously, you got to figure out kind of which track they're on. Like, whatever it is they're going to do it well. Sports, academics, music, art. Just pick something and be good at it, right? But you do have to kind of work. And those 4 hours that your kids are home before they go to sleep aren't yours just to, I don't know, do family kumbaya time. But as I was looking at the Good Times Make Kids Week thing, I was looking at the generational difference. Oh, wait. So, Michael Knowles. Ignore Michael Knowles.
All right, I do a lot of controversial things that I let my kids do. Now let's do things that I won't let my kids do. Starting with number one, my kids will not dye their hair black.
Now, I'm not necessarily against that. If you want to not let your kids wear makeup or dye their hair, that might be annoying, but okay. I mean, that seems okay for a parent, right? Ish.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
When they're in high school, you kind of got to let them off the leash a little.
Yeah, she's talking till 18.
As long as they live in my house and they are in like grade school, high school. Number two, no sleepovers. We can do a million late nights. I'll pick you up at 2 a.m., but no sleepover.
So
You're going to get molested anyway, you stupid bitch.
She doesn't want her
matter,
kids to sleep under another roof until after they're 18. Are you serious? These kids are going to have an alcohol problem when they go to college.
That's a massive trend right now, where parents are like, well, I can't trust anybody. It's like, okay, first off, moron, if you look at the statistical numbers, they're more likely to get molested by a family member. So if they're going to get molested, it's going to happen in your own goddamn home. Let the kid have sleepovers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so no sleeper. You were going to say something, Sora?
Sorry.
Yeah, my parents were sort of like that with the sleepover thing.
Okay, Skep and I are going to compare notes in a moment.
A little bit down the road, but tattoos. No tattoos.
Okay, no tattoos, no piercings. That's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Under the age of 18, yeah, that makes sense.
Now, here we go.
Hanging out without adult supervision. That's a no.
You can't go to the park without adult supervision. Oh my God, the things I did as a kid.
I used to wander the woods. probably scared the
I
shit
mean,
out of some
how
people.
old
If
are
I told you
kids?
stories, if I told you stories from my childhood, you would not believe them. You would not believe them.
Yeah,
No,
I would.
Wait, why don't you teach your kids stranger danger,
Yeah.
right? And
Well,
go from there.
every single one of these people thinks their kid is the kid who's going to get taken, like, in, crap. What was that stupid thing that all the conservatives lost their goddamn brains about? The movie that came out that was about child trafficking.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know the
they all
Caviezel
think-
thing.
Yeah, they all think their kid is that kid that's going to get grabbed. Statistical likelihood makes that absolutely very small, first off. Secondly, considering how some of you bitches raise your kids, no one's going to want them.
They'll put them back.
I will
Yo.
to play a little bit devil's advocate, and I disagree with her, but I'm going to try and come at it from a slightly different angle. I would say it would also depend, like where you are. Like if you are in like downtown Chicago,
Or
for
Oakland.
example,
Okay.
that might be.
She feels safe enough to walk around and talk to her phone.
Oh yeah, no,
in her neighborhood.
She's in the
I
suburbs.
don't buy her what she's
Yeah.
selling for
If
herself.
you
I'm
live-
just saying.
I love this
If you
freeze
live
frame,
in
by
New
the
York-
way. This is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks puffy. How much Botox have you had, sweetheart? Might want to cut it back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, no,
Cold
for her that advice does not apply. I'm just saying, in certain areas.
Michael
If you
Knowles
live
is
in
just drinking it in.
Yeah, if you
Hi,
if you
Functional.
live in Chicago or anything like that, yeah, no.
Is it really him?
Hey, Functional.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, could you like go places on your own, or did you have to be helicopter parented until you were 18?
Dude, I never had no.
And you turned out okay. I mean, you seem all right.
Oh, tougher. I mean, tougher than
Nails.
the youngins these days. No, definitely. But I make no qualms that I'm not as tough as my parents' generation.
Well, no wonder they need therapy. Gen Z needs therapy. 25% of them after they do their taxes because they've got PTSD from filling out a 1040 EZ. I mean, come on.
Oh, there's a new thing. It's a new thing. Menu anxiety.
Well, we are going to talk about ellipses.
In a short.
Oh yeah,
No,
that shit.
this is the anxiety of having to make a choice when you
Yeah.
go out to eat because there's too many choices.
Oh fuck off! I love making choices.
Sounds like a female.
I love this. I love
When in
Gen
doubt,
Z
order
so
a
much.
burger. That's always been my mantra.
So Functional.
spaghetti.
What was like one? I mean, just give me this is like a short thing. What was like one thing that you did as a kid that would just curl the toes of some of these parents of the Gen Zers? Just like an example of the kind of freedom you had as a child.
So many stories. Real quick. Building explosives and blowing up chunks of the backyard.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like
Although-
glorified fireworks, not like huge pipe bombs or anything like that. Just like messing around with black powder and
Yep.
digging up clay. Toronto is infamous for its green zones, so middle of the night, like midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just like with friends chilling in the woods.
Yeah, if you had friends, it was fine. If somebody came up in the van and they were going to try to take you away, they couldn't catch all of you. As long as you
Honestly,
could
I
outrun your
think
friends, you're fine.
My mother would only slightly be concerned if she looked in my room in the morning when she woke up and didn't see me there. But most of the time, she just assumed I was like crashing into friends or still out or whatever.
So what about
Okay.
you, Serenity?
Well, I wandered the woods, so that tells you everything you need to know.
There you
But
go.
Serenity was a
let's-
forest
let's-
fairy.
Yes, I was. Well, I was more like a forest goblin, but we're gonna let that go. But if
Like
we're
a
gonna,
dryad.
If we're gonna talk about younger kids, we also need to talk about the cool stuff, like the bike bus that happens in a bunch of places where it's a teacher rides his bike with all the kids from his school in the morning to school, and there's like hundreds of kids.
Wow.
Like, have you seen the videos for it? It's awesome.
So is that what this short is? Because I came in
No,
at the end of it.
this is her talking about how they can't dye their hair black while they live under her roof. They can't get tattoos or piercings till they're 18.
Oh, she's a good mom.
Yep. Here's a little more of helicoptero.
She's
gas station, Taco Bell, McDonald's. That's a hard no for me. Berkeley asked me about it the other day, and I was like, okay, when you're 15, you can walk to the gas station that's literally right down the street, but you have to walk there and back in 30 minutes.
Oh God.
God damn it.
Like that. Like she's got some good ideas, but she's just a little too hovery.
She's too strict. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny though, Harry, because I had my best friend Richard back in those days. His mom, if we walked to the end of the block, like he lived the next block over, really like quick, like 3-minute walk, right? And the variety store was equidistant, so probably a 4-minute walk one way. His mother would walk out onto the like air quotes main road just to watch us walk to the store and back, just to make sure. She was insanely helicoptery, insanely like wouldn't let him out of her sight until he was like 19.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to go to other towns if I had like somebody with me. Like I once got some friends
without my parents knowing.
I got some friends together and we rode to an adjacent town. I'm not going to name it. I'll tell Skep later, but and I would take the bus to another town and go fishing for the day, and then, you know, my mom or somebody would come pick me up at the end of the day after we sold the fish that we caught.
It was absolutely Oakland.
It was totally Oakland. I was fishing at the Berkeley Marina because that's where the good fish comes from.
Going down to Lake Merritt.
Yeah.
Granted, I was 18
right by the refinery.
Two buddies of mine, we got in the car and just without telling anybody, went to New York City for the weekend.
Nice.
And I came back and, hey, Mom, where were you? New York.
Cool. Well, not only...
Here, I have one to offer into this mix. When I was 9 years old, living in a foreign country, living in Belgium, with no English speakers around, my dad said, you know, why don't you go down and you know, see what kind of mischief you can get into. See if you get somebody to buy you lunch. He was in a funny mood. We talked about it. It was a Saturday morning. He gave me 100 francs and said, go down to the garage, go down to the station, the tram station, go have some fun. Well, I took that as license to, I'm going to go have a boys' day out. And I headed for the tram station, threw my bike down on the sidewalk in front of the tram station in Waterloo, Belgium, got on the tram, rode it to the old place where we first came in, had a reunion with a bunch of the people there. They didn't think anything about it. They just assumed my parents were somewhere around. So then I went on. I trudged on. I was now 15 miles away, a tram ride and a train ride away from my home in a foreign country, still, you know, with no Americans around. And I was cruising through Brussels. I was walking through, and I was bound and determined to find this address. And I knew the address of my little friend. And I asked enough people. I found the street, and I walked up there. And he was the son of the Canadian consulate in Belgium, and the Canadian consul there in Belgium. So I knocked on the door, and his mother came, and David and I were best friends. And, oh, Franklin, it's so nice to see you. You know, I wasn't called SkepTock then. Mm-hmm. And she said, where's your mother? You know, and it was like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It was like dinner time. And I said, oh, I just came up here from Waterloo on my own. And she said, come in this house. That was that. I was immediately busted. My very worried mother drove down. My father was conspicuously absent. I assumed they had an argument about it. And my mother was absolutely furious. I got the lecture all the way home.
I mean, long story short is these kids don't... How do you not have adventures?
That was in 1961.
But they don't have adventures. I mean, and especially... Right, exactly. I mean, I can't speak to what it's like being a girl, but for like a boy with that kind of energy that you've got, you got to have adventures. You've got to build tree forts, and occasionally you fall and you break your collarbone, and
you got to go on voyages.
You got to go on voyages, and there has to be a little bit of risk. It's totally manageable. It's fine.
Right.
It's totally fine. but these kids are not doing it. Now, I do have one friend who, she's super cool. Her name is Natasha. And I mean, she really is super cool. She's a PhD, super smart, and super cool. She's one of the coolest people I know. And she's told me I have to actually fight not to be a helicopter parent. Like, you know, she lets her kid go off and, you know, play with the other kids and stuff. And it's like, I'm not going to keep an eye on them. It's going to be fine. But I mean, she has to really fight because all of the social pressure is on, and legal pressure is on moms to just not let them, let their kids be kids at all. I mean, there was one time when parents went away and they went somewhere I didn't want to go. So they just left me $120 for groceries. And I just stayed home for like a week. And I just went and I bought my own groceries and I cooked my own food. And
you were as happy as you could be.
I was as happy as I could be. I took one of the TV sets and I got a long piece of extension coax and rigged up a TV set in the bathroom so that I could listen to the Tonight Show monologue while I took a shower. That was like the best thing. This doesn't sound like much to people with cell phones, but this was like a big deal.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
And this sort of pseudo family member came by to make sure I wasn't dead at one point, and he annoyed the crap out of me, and I'm just like, who the hell do you think you are? Get the hell out of here, moron. Okay, this has gone south. I didn't ask Sora. I can't tell if you fall in the helicopter category or the free spirit category. Did you get to have adventures?
Helicopter. No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was fully helicoptered, it sounds like.
I'm only child of immigrants.
Oh, God.
You don't have adventures.
Saying them all.
Okay.
Plus a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus a girl.
I can safely say I'm pretty sure I fall into the helicopter category.
I wasn't even going to ask. I already knew. Okay. So how about ellipses?
I love them.
Yeah, I overuse them.
On the ... If you text a person in ellipses, you might as well give them a Xanax.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is the guy.
Yeah.
This guy, this Gen Xer. He's the one with the where I read about
general
menu.
punctuation, check. The thumbs up emoji, check. Check mark. Check. What else bothers you now?
It can take a regular-looking text message and make it the most ominous statement ever written ever.
That's no X.
Ellipses are fine. All it really means is I know you're smart enough to know what I'm about to say. Okay.
Yeah.
You just sort of leave it hanging. You're just like, I'm writing a thing. I know that you know that I know that you know. ... That's all it means. It doesn't mean that what's going to happen to them. Are they going to be eaten by Smurfs? I don't know.
For example,
anything could happen.
Before the show today, I wrote maybe late, comma, or something ... knowing something's probably going on, and I'll show up when I show up. Like, I mean, it fills in the.
I feel personally attacked. I'm terrified.
Sorry, I'll be more mindful of your Gen X sensibilities.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
They just
get it. I don't need it. It's condescending, and I hate it, and I'm scared.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I'm scared.
The issue is, and I think where part of it comes from, is one, the bad kind of helicopter parent who took it too far. Especially if you were right that cusp of that age where texting started to happen.
Yeah.
That ingrains it, because I have a friend who's like this. She's older than me, but I have a friend who's like this. And then I think also because so many people are reading shittily written books and stuff like that, and the people who use that in the books don't understand what the punctuation means, and neither do their editors. So they misinterpret what it means. But I literally, like, a friend of mine, like, she was like, please don't do a period at the end of a sentence. I was like, if I double hit, I have an iPhone. If I double hit that space button, it's putting a period, sweetheart. You're going to have to get the fuck over it. If I'm mad at you, I'm going to not talk to you.
I can tell you, I've seen a new type of punctuation, and it bothers me, but it's more bothers me because I'm confused. Because I don't.
Is it the interrobang?
No,
okay.
It's one of two. It's either ... exclamation point,
or ... question mark? Because to me, that's like a double entendre. I'm like, what is going on here?
Sounds
the ...
aggressive.
Yeah, they're both like, it's like the, oh wow, that's what the ... exclamation mark, and the question mark is, oh, that's wonderful. That's what that is.
Yeah, to me, I look at that. I'm like, no, we did not do that here. This does not happen under the roof of this house.
If you're gonna be passive aggressive, you're gonna be passive aggressive to my face.
Get better friends, Geodes.
I'm just like, my grammar. No, I
will fight you.
This is no.
That too, nothing to see here is like a pregnant pause, because that's more the conversational writing.
Yeah, that's
how it's
fine.
morphed into when because people tend to these days write a lot less formally, obviously, and a lot more conversationally, how they would as they're speaking. So like right there at that little sort of pause there, that probably could have been filled. Yeah. I can see that in text communication too.
Yeah, like that's okay. It's like, oh, you're doing.
There's nothing to be offended by. It's so dumb.
I think they assume the thumbs up is that over exaggerative, like big smile face, like where people go with the thumbs up, so they just assume that's what it always is.
Yeah, you idiot kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like, sweetheart, just like, it's just like, okay, because I don't want to write. I can't write K because you're gonna be pissed off about that. Can't write OK because then you get pissed off. Yeah, it's like, fuck off. I do thumbs up to my mother. Like, my mother can get over it. You can't do.
Well, shall we go on to the next thing?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. This will be really quick because it's just a follow-up. Remember we talked about the space lasers for communications? Well, the probe that's going to Psyche has now sent a message 226 million kilometers. It's much further away. It's still kicking ass. And they've actually, for the first time, instead of just sending an 8K cat video, they're actually sending simultaneously data over the radio link and the infrared laser in tandem. So they've now actually sent real data from this very long distance, from like a quarter of a billion kilometers away, using the space laser thing. So far, this project is just working fantastically well.
Woot.
So that's an update. Now you've been updated. Consider yourself updated. Okay. Hey, Sora, you made a comment about Lana Del Rey's face. I brought up Lana Del Rey, and you made like a terrible noise. Was it you or was it Serenity?
That was me. That was me.
That was Serenity.
Me. I own up to
okay,
it.
sorry.
I admit to it.
So Serenity,
I'm a
you were
judgmental bitch. No,
yeah. So
it's
I guess
been worked on a lot.
I guess she gained some weight and then lost some weight and then shit happened.
Daddy paid for a new face.
Yeah, so she looked like that, and then things happened.
Nose have changed quite significantly. She used to have a dorsal bump, which has since disappeared, and the nose bridge and tip also looks much narrower, suggesting most likely that she's had a rhinoplasty. Given the changes in her lip shape, size, plumpness, she's probably also had lip filler, which is very common for most celebrities at a certain age group. The sideburn hair has disappeared, which points to a facelift, since that hair is removed.
Yeah, she kind of looks like a less slutty version of that woman who used to be a Disney thing and now is like an OnlyFans girl, Bella Thorne.
Dude. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Bella Thorne, I think, is off OnlyFans now. But anyway, yeah.
I do not. I'm not cyber stalking Bella Thorne, so thank you for that update. She just gives me the ick.
It was one of those. It's like, this is the new obsession that the Swifties have, because apparently Taylor's like bumped her up a little bit or something like that.
Who? Who did she bump up?
Lana.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Lana did go to Coachella 2024, and they made like this little entrance where they came in on like the back of these motorcycles. So here's this video. So she and all of her backup singers came in on the back of these motorcycles. Well,
she's my age.
The safety people were complete tools about this whole affair that they were doing. They said, first of all, you can't have anything with an internal combustion engine. Why? And second of all, they said, and it can't go more than 5 miles per hour. It's like, okay. So the cool part of it is they actually went to a startup motorcycle company in California. They said, "Oh yeah, we have electric motorcycles. We'll just fix that for you. We'll just basically hack our bikes so they temporarily can't go more than 5 miles per hour." So they actually came in on the back of electric motorcycles that had been easily hacked to stay within the stupid fire marshal regulations that had been handed to them. Yeah.
Good for her.
So cool piece of little bit of technology. It just shows how flexible these electric platforms can be. Maybe impractical for everyday use, but for bringing Bella Thorne's body in on the back of it works just fine.
Lana Del Rey.
So what did I say?
Bella Thorne.
Bella Thorne.
Man.
Okay, I'm all confused.
Are you sure you're not cyber stalking her?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
She's mine.
her face freaks me out. That's the thing. It's just I can't.
I'm so sorry.
I can't do it. It's like the Hadids and the Kardashians. Like I can tell they fucked with their face too much, and it bothers me because it's like an uncanny valley thing, and I'm just like, you don't look human anymore. Get away from me.
It's the whole thing of, and this is what gets me. There's a trend of people, and whether it's plastic surgery or in the fitness industry with steroids or something like that, where they have to pretend like, oh no, I look this way naturally, and like meanwhile they're doing all these surgeries, which had, you know, there have been plenty of people who come out and said, no, you don't need all this stuff. You look fine the way you are, and it all has to do with just personal opinion on how they look, or trying to make themselves look a certain way to like help promote like their brand or something, and it's insane. There's the whole thing of what's that really horrible surgery that people get in
buccal
yeah
surgery.
Well, there's that, but I was thinking even just the ones that are like the
Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah, the Brazilian butt lift.
BBL.
That kills like 1 in every 3,000.
Is that followed by the Brazilian blowout?
That's a hair dryer.
I know that's a.
But it's just one of those things where it's like the fact that these people are willing to put themselves through that, it just goes to show, you know, it's like it's all. I mean, whether it's social media pressure or just psychological, I don't know, but it's just wild. It really is.
Well, it's also, I think it's a little bit of an imposter syndrome, because most of the people who get it done are the people like she's the daughter of people who work at the Gray Group, which is a really big organization out in New York. Like her father's a copywriter and her mother's an executive there. So she had a leg up into the industry. So I think it's a little bit imposter syndrome. The Kardashians, we all know why. The Hadids, those girls were not model ready when they were younger. They weren't ugly. They just weren't like supermodels. So they had a lot of work done. And because, let's face facts, they were related to the Hadids. They had money to get them into the modeling industry. So I think a lot of it's just imposter syndrome. There's that actress from The Boys who fucked her face up, and now she looks way
the little fake blonde one, the tiny one.
Yeah, I'm like,
what's her name?
You're meant to be cute.
She's an Erin or something. I can't remember her last name though.
Yeah, but it's still like when I saw
that was sad.
Like, Jesus, lady.
If body positivity was worth anything at all, they would be going up against this. But
Erin Moriarty.
Yeah. Wow, I got a first name instead of a last name. I'm usually terrible at first names. Yeah. But she looks like an Erin, so it's easy to remember.
Yeah. Erin Moriarty.
So, Geodes, you sent me this. I think it was you. Songs of Six nearly triples player count following video. So there's so the Fantasy City Builder Song of Six has nearly tripled its player count after a video from YouTuber Seth, I can't pronounce it. How do you pronounce this, Geodes?
I just say Seth Zinch, but that's
Seth Zinch. Yeah. Man, who needs game journalists when you've got influencers who have influence?
Yeah. I introduced Sora to Seth a while back. Yeah, he's hilarious. I love his videos. He's great. It's just I need to. Oh man, I should have grabbed a video for you to just to play like the first few seconds of. But like one of his videos, he's like, "Hey, everybody, epilepsy warning. I'm serious. You have about 3 seconds." And it really is like an epilepsy scenario. And then he cuts away and he's like, "Now that all the epileptics are dead or convulsing, let's have a pleasant time." And then goes into the review. So it's just like, yeah, that's his stick.
I like city builder sim things. I get really addicted to them, and then I just sort of stop doing normal things like talking to people or working or
eating.
Eating. I get very, very drawn into them. So I have to, if I'm going to play one of these, I need to make it count. Luckily, I haven't seen this video, so it exists. But yeah, that's like some serious influence. This guy does a review, and then suddenly they triple their player count. Good for them. That's awesome. Yeah. That's actually pretty cool. So we do have a couple space things. I think I mentioned this last week. Voyager 1 is actually sending engineering data back now.
Yes, it is.
We don't have science data coming back, but we're getting close to it actually being like a working thing again, which is great.
You hear that? Half a billion miles away laser probe. You got nothing on this thing. Nothing.
No, it's 250 million kilometers. It's not even 500 million miles. It's going to take a while. Kilometers only 0.6 miles. So.
Fair enough.
Let's see. So sailing on sunlight, NASA ACS-3 solar sail mission to launch next week.
Cool.
Excellent.
The point of solar sails is you don't get a whole lot of push from the light hitting the back of this thing, but you get continuous acceleration. And this is a technology that might actually pan out. I don't know. I'm not super hopeful about it, but I'm glad that they're testing it. Because as you get further and further away from the sun, the amount of push that you get diminishes quite a bit. But you essentially get free.
Square.
Yeah. The propulsion that you get is essentially free if you can get the engineering working for something like this. And even a small tear from micrometeorites isn't really going to slow it down that much. But cool new space mission, low cost, try it out next week. The Planetary Society was talking about doing this back in the 90s, when privatized space launches were just starting, where the Russians were like, we got a bunch of missiles left over. We'll put your shit in orbit for you. All right. Well, anyway, it's good that they're actually testing that. Good for them. Good for them. Do we have any other space stuff? I don't think so. Here's, you guys sent me this one about a week ago. Canadian lawmaker sorry for joining parliament session from bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, they because of the remote working thing, sometimes
this is from 2022.
They can't get but it's so weird because he's not like apologizing or outright saying that he did it. He just said like, but it was or he did apologize, I guess. But like in a bathroom stall?
A Canadian lawmaker has apologized for causing a big stink by remotely participating.
I think
in
he denied
a session from a bathroom stall.
I think he
Keep
denied
it classy.
actually going to the bathroom while doing it, but I mean, it looks like he's sitting on the toilet, so who knows?
The echo was astounding. That's all I'm going to say.
He just likes the presence that the bathroom acoustics offers his voice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sorry, dude. At least he didn't do what Jeffrey Toobin did. We're all familiar with that story, right?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
He was made into a verb.
He was having a little me time while he was on his Zoom call.
Or quality time.
Yeah.
Hey, to be fair, it was a CNN Zoom call.
Yeah.
So, they're sending their best and brightest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing new for CNN.
No.
Every segment's a wank job.
No prison time for developer who bribed city officials for 18 years. This was in San Francisco. This guy was like, I got to get shit done, and San Francisco sucks, so I'll just bribe the inspectors and the permit people for 18 years. And he didn't get any jail time for this.
Oh, San Francisco, big fucking surprise.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is 73, but they fined him $75,000. Honestly, that's a great investment, don't you think, Skep? $75,000 to get expedited inspections and permits for 18 years?
Absolutely.
Sign me up.
Yeah, that's
You'd be
really
dumb not to do what he did based on the punishment he's getting.
Absolutely. His cost of money is zero.
Yeah.
This isn't a tragedy. This is a business model. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Good job, San Francisco.
Places as corrupt as San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I teased. Let's see. What was the last thing I teased in the thumbnail? It was software companies F around. Will they find out? Well, okay. A couple of things that have happened that might not be obvious to people who aren't sort of in the business. One of the things is that a bunch of open source things, which everybody's been using, like, and I mean everybody, like they're used in tons and tons of projects. People just said, hey, what if we just take this thing that's been free for like over a decade and people have been contributing to it and we just make it not free? How's that sound? Because everybody's using it. Let's just, you know,
when they do that.
Yeah, let's just make it be now cost money. And this has happened with a couple programs that, like I said, are used all over the place, especially in a lot of cloud computing stuff. So they were originally under the 3 clause BSD license, meaning you can pretty much do anything you want with it. And the thing that I'm referring to here is a thing called Redis, which is like an in-memory database type thing that a lot of things sort of use to function in distributed applications. It says, and so when this happened, the big, the other one was, what's it called? Terraform, which is a HashiCorp thing that they changed the license on that. So these two big things that lots and lots of people use suddenly became potentially really expensive. Well, the big software companies got together and said, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to fork your application and make that free. So they took the last free version of it and said no. So you can sometimes get away with this, where as long as you're still providing people good value. But if you just get greedy and try to make something free expensive, the big companies will just step in and make their own free version of it. So there's like a real dance that you have to get right to have this sort of thing work. But that's the open source world. The other thing that happened was, are you guys familiar with a thing called VMware?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Well, VMware, you can run it on your PC to run like a virtual machine, but that's just like the home version of it and the small business version. Big businesses use it to virtualize like their whole infrastructure. Well, Broadcom bought VMware for many billions of dollars, and they have raised the price anywhere from 3.5x to 10x.
Yeah.
What they were charging before. And I can tell you with authority that there are a lot of businesses that are just trying to get the hell away from Broadcom and VMware as fast as they possibly can.
Oracle is going to do well with their VirtualBox. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, actually, Nutanix and Zen are probably going to be the big winners here. But this is really more of like not about the specific thing, but about this type of thing. So, but Oracle is the good thing now. So this should sound kind of Oracle-esque to you, Skep. Education sector faces huge VMware cost increases after Broadcom ends discounts. Yeah, so they actually raised the price to a children's hospital by 10x. The optics of that are just great, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So what VMware or Broadcom has actually told one of the education sector buyers is, well, maybe our products aren't really intended for everybody.
You could open a children's warehouse where the kids would work while they were sick.
Yeah.
In the hospital. So during the day, they'd have jobs that they'd go and do in the factory. And then they could come back at night and be sick.
Yeah. And there were people that had perpetual licenses that essentially never expired. And they said, yeah, we're not supporting those. Yeah. Let's just not. I mean, this is just sort of the world that I live in. Broadcom tells partner negotiating for charity. VMware is not for everybody. It's like, okay. This kind of reminds me of the Martin Shkreli thing, where he found some more or less orphan drug that was keeping about 1,500 people alive, and he bought the rights to it and jacked the price up 100 times.
Yeah. And that's become a business strategy when somebody has some very useful widget. Somebody comes in and, that has high entry barriers, high development barriers. It's hard to gen up competition to it. VMware is a good example of this. It has competitive entry barriers. It's hard to get into that business. There's substantial development time, and they've done a lot with VMware. They've made themselves insidiously useful in so many ways, both in the small business market and in what Harry was talking about, big time enterprise virtualization. Go ahead.
The other problem too is that like a lot of businesses do this. It's just that you get these cases where it's just outrageous because of the way they either conduct themselves, or in the case of Martin, it was that, and then also pissing off his investors, which is what got him in jail, I believe. Yeah. So it's just like,
What the point I was going to make was that in order for this strategy for the VMware guys to work, they've got to do it faster than what they're doing, and I think they're too slow. And there are going to be some VMware competitors with the companies Harry's talking about. I'm not that familiar with that market segment right now, but there are going to be some guys who are just sitting there, licking their lips, just wanting to get in, just waiting for VMware to make some business policy decision that makes them less competitive, and they'll come in there with the knives and just do selling like you have never seen, and really put on an effort and try and knife VMware, and they might be successful.
I don't think the barriers to entry are really all that great, and I'm going to avoid
they're not to you, Harry.
No, I'm telling you that they're not in a lot of ways. The thing that VMware has done to basically lock people in isn't so much about the virtualization part of it. It's about the storage component that they've bundled with it. And so they've given people an ability to just give Dell some money, get some storage things associated with it, and deploy their storage component that works with their virtualization. And that's the part that's sort of deficient in other ones. But given that in the case of even modest businesses, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that have now turned into 3.5 times that amount. People are pretty motivated to find something else, and a lot of people are looking at options.
I would agree with you there. I think the market's ripe for a change. I think VMware is not going to be the dominant force in that market very soon.
It's a pretty audacious grab, honestly. They've got giant swinging testicles to try to pull this.
Yeah, it's too slow. It's not going fast enough.
And this is also, I'm not going to try and divert the topic too much, but this is also the argument against like cloud computing and other things as well, when you can have something like this happen, but that's just.
Yeah, well, I mean, what VMware basically does, because let's see, Assassin's saying he's not sure what it is. The general idea is you can buy like a computer that has a lot of memory and a bunch of CPU cores, and what you really want is a bunch of smaller computers, and it's a lot cheaper to basically divvy up the computer into pieces and software than it is to buy a bunch of separate hardware that you have to sort of manage. That's what VMware basically does, is it makes it a lot easier to run your business for a lot less money. And VMware has decided that the value proposition is much that they're going to buy this thing, jack the price way up. Like I said, 3.5s to 10x.
I can actually give some examples because I used to work with a lot of VM machines. So, for example, in a hospital, you'll have these server computers that are effectively set to run a bunch of VMware machines. And so people, when they log into terminals, they're not logging into a computer per se, like in terms like they are, but the computer is set up to run one of these virtual machines from the main server. And the advantage there is that the VM machines can be accessed remotely by a bunch of IT people all over the place. It's a lot cheaper to run, and it's a lot easier to also set up like security protocols to make sure like certain regulations are being followed and record everything.
Well, it centralizes a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd imagine also fewer moving parts, so less stuff to break down.
It's a lot easier to run your data center this way for most people than just trust me, it's a lot easier to have 4 or 5 big systems that you manage this way than it is to have 30 or 40 small systems.
It's the reason universities use it, hospitals use it, all these businesses use it. Pretty much a lot of government entity or government associated groups.
Yeah, and I'm not exaggerating. I could talk about this for like days. Okay,
yeah.
We're not going to do that. So let's back away now while we all still have our sanity. But it is interesting, and it'll be. I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out. I don't think this is going to end well for them.
I agree with you.
I think they've overplayed their hand by a lot, and I actually have a good friend who's a big management guy at VMware. So no hate here, but I just don't think this is a strategy that's going to pan out. But we'll find out if Harry's right or not eventually. Let's see, where are we in terms of time? Oh, we're doing just fine for time. Let's see, what sort of thing would we like to talk about? Let's have one more thing. Remember how the White House said that Rust was like the language that was going to keep everybody from getting hacked? Well, there's been another exploit. Critical Rust flaw enables Windows command injection attack. It's as if the language doesn't protect you at all, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's as if it just doesn't do what the White House said it was. But when I look for technical guidance, I look to Joe Biden.
Oh, speaking of Biden, I've got another update on a story we did like last week or the week before. Remember?
Okay.
I brought up they were trying to ban menthol cigarettes.
Yeah.
And the article was about them pissing off a bunch of black people. Well, guess what happened? A bunch of black people got really pissed off, and Biden reversed it.
Yeah.
At least until after the election.
It's just, I don't know which government is worse. Yours through corruption and like massive amounts of incompetence, or mine through just like, well, a lot of the same. But like, Jesus Christ, how did we
both
get
have
here?
good arguments for which one is worse. It is hard to pick.
Yeah, it really is.
We gotta stick them in an arena and have them duke it out and see who wins, because that's the person who's slightly better.
Pancrase to the death.
Yeah.
Well, we are coming up on the 2-hour mark, so let's look at a few of the fun things just to sort of take us out, because all the rest of the stuff is just too serious. So you've been watching Delicious in Dungeon, right? Functional, and you said it's not even terrible.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, Real Delicious in Dungeon Cola will be released.
No way.
Moto Cola announced the release of a craft cola beverage inspired by the Mandrake monster of Delicious in Dungeon. The new Mandrake Cola drink costs 2,980 yen, or about $19.45. It is now available from an online store. Yeah, no, but it is a pretty cool bottle, actually. I could almost go for that. But you think I would come at you with just one thing? No, I wouldn't do that to you. How about this, Functional?
Far, far away, TrueMoo is partnering with Lucasfilm to release Star Wars Blue Milk ahead of the May 4th celebration. Up until now, the Blue Milk was only available at Star Wars attractions at Disney parks, but now half gallons can be found in select retailers and on DoorDash. The Blue Milk was featured
so much. It's a weeb thing, Assassin. It's Animu on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, but they eat.
But you all know about Star Wars. So you're going to rush out and buy some blue milk?
What's its flavor?
Blue.
Or is it just colored
it's
milk?
blue flavor.
I think
so, like blue raspberry or what?
It's menthol. No, just
I think
get you some grandkids. You'll have blue milk a lot.
I think that you may have made Functional a little bit blue with that one.
Yeah, possibly. Well, let's make.
We can make more than I hate the blue milk.
We can make Sora sad. Here's a parody that might interest you guys, Canadians.
What can I do for you today, Brian?
Oh, I know
got
this one.
wicked
Are you
rash.
seeing this one?
Check it out. No thanks.
Oh, yes.
I'm good. Here, try this. What is this? It's one of them Hydro creams. You don't want to look at this first? Try the cream. If it doesn't work, come on back, okay? What if I want to go to a dermatologist?
So this is what the walk-in clinics are like?
You need you need a referral. Yeah, but I don't have a doctor. Can you write the referral? No.
Because this is a walk-in clinic.
This is not a parody. You think, oh, this is funny. This is real. This is not a parody. This is how
it
Dr.
works.
is like.
Yeah.
This is.
Can you refer me to a dermatologist? No, why not? Because then I got to fill out a form, send it off.
Send it off, and get one back. It's annoying. That's what I do for a job.
So this is basically, but you can only have one question per thing, right?
I got another question.
No, it's
Look,
5
busy.
to
You
10
get one
minutes.
question per visit.
Get
It's
one
important.
question. It's literally.
Okay, what is it?
They
I
have
think I might have
signs
broke
in the
my
doctor's
ankle.
office.
Why do you say
go
that?
to the doctor's office.
I don't know, it just
you
hurts a lot.
You can ask one question.
That's outstanding. Canada sounds fantastic. So
This is fun. I love this. I love this so much. This particular clip.
Okay.
Because it's exactly what it's like going to a walkie clinic or your doctor's office.
It
here
didn't used to be this
in
bad.
Vancouver.
It actually used to be a functioning system. But this is, I mean, obviously this is what happens when you overload a system with too many people and then start over-regulating things to this.
Okay. Well, let's make fun of Gen Z one more time. So this is what I'm calling Gen Z car thieves.
They are facing charges in Montgomery County connected to a carjacking. But it's the surveillance video that really tells the story here, and it makes your blood boil. It shows the victim there finishing up, pumping gas in Germantown on Saturday. You can see the two teens forced the door open, grabbed the driver, and demanded his keys. They hopped in. You're going to see it right there. They tried to take off, but wait a minute. Nope, they couldn't. It's the best anti-theft device you can have. It was a stick shift. Manual transmission. Turns out it was unsuspect.
Labels.
I'll
Even
bet
the
you most
quality
Gen
of
Zs can't
thieves-
drive a stick shift.
Even the quality of thieves has declined.
Yeah. I mean, given that they don't really make many cars with stick shifts anymore. I mean, full stop. In fact, the WRX is one of the few cars you can still buy with a stick shift.
There you go.
I believe you can still buy a WRX with a stick shift. And I think it's the only Subaru that comes with one. I'm not sure about the BRZ, or excuse me, the BRZ, for those of you who are not in the United States.
Oh man, Subarus used to be big stick shifters too.
No, it's Z.
I don't think I've ever driven a Subaru automatic.
Well, if you're going to tow and stuff, the automatic is actually better. So if you're going to tow, but there is that song from the Dr. Demento days, "Making Love in a Subaru." I don't know. You remember that one? No.
Dr. Demento was a regular part of mine.
Yeah.
My evenings.
I think when they were talking in the "Making Love in a Subaru," they even mentioned the stick shift in one of the lyrics. But be as it may. Let's see. Oh, West Virginia. We still have Serenity, or is she out chasing dogs? Nope, she's not here. So
Might be out chasing dogs.
oh, we can't do that. How about a little presidential humor? So I know you love
I
that.
was driving down a country road, and all of a sudden I looked out, and there beside him was a chicken. He was doing about 45, and the chicken was running alongside. So he stepped on the gas, he got it up to about 60, and the chicken caught up with him and was right beside him again. And then he thought, as he was looking at him, that the chicken had 3 legs. But before he could really make up his mind for sure, the chicken took off out in front of him at 60 miles an hour, turned down a lane into a barnyard. Well, he made a quick turn and went down into the barnyard too, and there was a farmer standing there. And he asked him, he said, did a chicken come past you? And he said, yeah. Well, he said, am I crazy, or did the chicken have 3 legs? He says, yep, it's mine. He says, I breed 3-legged chickens. And the fellow said, for heaven's sakes, why? Well, he says, I like the drumstick, Ma likes the drumstick, and now the kid likes the drumstick, and we just got tired of fighting for him. And the driver said, well, how does it taste? He says, I don't know. I've never been able to catch one. The fellas.
Reagan is my president in the same way that Tom Baker is my Doctor Who.
There you go.
I mean,
I get that.
He's probably the start of them breeding those mountain goats that you had a few episodes back in now. Kind of a,
yeah. Well, here's something that happened in San Francisco, which I don't know. I think this is kind of cool. They were trying to promote the some new Planet of the Apes movie. So they actually had some guys in full-on costume riding around on horseback in San Francisco.
Oh, neat. Yeah, that's cool.
That is pretty. That's pretty slick.
That's fantastic.
That is pretty slick. Geodes is not convinced. I could tell.
I like that. That's a good one.
You hate monkeys or horses? What is it?
I don't. It wasn't a series that needed a reboot. That's all. It just wasn't a series.
But I mean, as a promotional stunt, this is pretty cool.
It's neat as a promotional stunt. I still won't watch it, but it's neat as.
I'm not going to watch it either. But I still think as a promotional stunt, it's pretty cool. I mean, if you're trying to make a point, this is, you could call it guerrilla marketing.
Don't forget to tip the waitresses.
I'm sorry, but after listening to all those Carl Pilkington things lately, the fact that I can do monkey news makes me very happy.
There you go.
So there was a meme that we talked about at one point. You've seen the woman that has her arms sort of akimbo with the weird look on her face in her kitchen. I didn't realize that was actually from this video.
This is a PSA to the seasoning police on this app. If in your brain you only view seasoning as things like garlic powder, onion powder, or maybe something like rosemary, if this is what you view as seasoning and seasoning only, let me pose you a question. What does this come from? Granulated garlic, what is that? Garlic? Onion powder, where does that come from? Dehydrated onion?
Yeah, and there's the bit that got turned into the meme. And now I feel kind of guilty because she's making a very fair point. Why are people picking on this woman? She's perfect in every way.
Nobody likes to be judged, Terry. That's what it boils down
white
to.
Woman.
She does this several times, but she's basically just saying, you know, what's wrong with seasoning your food? And then she does that thing again.
I had just doused my chicken in this rub alone. The seasoning police would be out of my comments. They wouldn't even be in there. But the second it's fresh garlic or fresh onion or fresh bell pepper, it's automatically not seasoning. And let me just say one last thing. If you're one of those people that loves to watch cooking competitions and a judge says something is under-seasoned, they're talking about salt. Under-seasoning your food means there's...
This woman is perfect. I feel so bad about making fun of her. She's absolutely right about the whole thing. She's spot on. And I'm sorry that arms akimbo just look kind of weird on her. She does look overtly smug. But yeah, this is where this came from. I didn't know. And now I feel sad because I feel like I've wronged her. Oh, well.
I have no idea what it
Call
was.
her.
But I get it
Go
now.
buy her apartment. Tell her how you feel.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm not going to simp for her. I just said that she's totally right about the seasoning police.
There you go.
All right. Well, we can click
Seasoning
that
is white supremacy, Harry.
Oh, Serenity is back.
Yep.
I didn't know Jennifer Garner was from your neck of the woods.
Yep. She went to WVU, but her family's from Charleston.
Oh.
Yeah. She was making some comments about what it was like basically growing up in West Virginia, which I have right here.
You are the first person that I've ever known from West Virginia. First of all, it's not unusual for you to tell me that I'm the only West Virginian you've ever met, because statistically speaking, you're less likely to meet someone from West Virginia outside of the state than from anywhere else.
I can honestly say I don't think I've ever run into anybody from West Virginia.
Well, I mean
IRL.
When you consider the fact that my home state, square kilometer wise, is half the size of England proper, but we only have 2 million people in the state, that's pretty normal.
Yeah, I'm being a little careful because I don't want to get copy struck by these people.
Oh, yeah. Marge down the street, had the extra key if the door was locked when we got home from school. I was raised by a community. But if you grow up somewhere that is the bottom of the barrel in education and upward mobility and health, if you grow up in that place and you've been surrounded by people who look after their neighbors, who take care of themselves, the people are trying to give them money to supplement food for their children, they say, I'm all right. Somebody else probably needs it more. I'm okay. Nutrition.
Anyway, I thought that was kind of a nice message. And she's not talking bullshit, right?
Nope, she's not. We're too country to. We don't like outsiders, but if you got problems, we help you. It's that saying that was going around on the internet not too long ago. The West Coast is nice but not kind. The East Coast is kind but not nice.
It's the humidity that gets me.
They used to say that about the South. The South was nice but not kind, and the North was kind but not nice.
I personally, considering the Northerners and Southerners I've dealt with, I think that's reversed. But because they'll just sit there and go.
I would say so also.
It's like if your tire pops, it's like, why? You're doing it wrong. Get away. I'm gonna take care of this for you because you're doing it wrong. That's the country /Southern/East Coast way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Get the hell up out my way. I'll fix your tire for you. Move.
Well, we've got enough stuff. We could probably do another 2 hours, but I'm tired. Skep's tired. This has to end at some point, right?
Yeah, but I wake up tired, so.
Yeah, that's just sort of your default setting, right?
Exactly.
I was born tired.
All right. So, anything else before we go?
Proud and happy.
All right. Thank you, panel. Thank